And hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of Box Office Shuffle. This week on the Shuffler, we're watching Toy Story 3 from 2010 as part of one of our hosts' collection. Because if you don't know, this is Box Office Shuffle, where we take our physical media collections of the three hosts you see on screen, or we'll hear very shortly on the audio version. We put them in a shuffler, and it spits out a movie for us to watch every other week, and then we sit down to talk about it and just gab for a little bit, probably about half an hour episodes. I'm one of your hosts, Thomas, aka Mr. Warburg. And the host for this week who supplied the movie was Chris, a.k.a. Gamma Caruchador.
There's a snake in my boot.
And joining us, as always, is Joe, a.k.a. Joe.
What up?
So as I said, we watched Toy Story 3. We just got done watching that about 10 minutes ago before we sat down to record, which is actually my first time watching the movie. It came out when I was in college, and I just never saw it, and then never went back to do it. Even though I've had Disney Plus for forever, I just never sat down to actually watch it. Same thing as like I've always meant to sit down and watch the Sonic movies. I just never have. You know?
Oh yeah.
So, but I figured
I've seen the first one.
For the occasion, I'll rock the Pizza Planet shirt for the podcast and sit down to talk about what turned out to be a very, very good movie. So before we get into the film, have you guys seen any movies of late that you might be adding or have added to your physical collections? Because me and Joey saw one.
Sinners.
Indeed.
That movie's so fucking good. When that comes out, I will buy it.
Instant 4K buy. A gorgeous movie.
Just
gorgeous.
Oh,
acting, score, cinematography. It looks beautiful from the jump. It's awesome.
Yeah.
Everyone should go see it. Chris, you got anything you've seen recently? Or you doesn't have to be new.
No, I've been watching a lot of like series and television programs. Like I've been going through Moon Knight again.
Good one.
It's Always Sunny in Philadelphia.
Classic.
I'm trying to rush through that before they take it off of Disney Plus's free Hulu trial kind of thing. Yeah.
I have two more movies, Dad. I watched Beekeeper and A Working Man with Jason Statham. I watched them back to back. And watching back to back just makes them one giant fucking movie.
Yeah, it's
cool.
very, very similar conceits with the same actor playing the same character, but with different names.
Yeah.
Are you going to be adding those to your physical collection for the Shuffler in the future?
Oh, God. Yes. They're good action movies. I mean, doesn't hurt to have them.
Fair enough. I will.
You gonna splice them together on your jellyfin to make them?
I kind of contemplated it.
They're like Jason Statham, the two-part special.
The two-part special. Yep. The fan edit.
All right, so let's dive back on into the movie we just watched, which was Toy Story 3. It released June 18th, 2010, to a box office gross of $1.067 billion, which at the time made it the highest grossing animated film of all time, or animated film, I should say, but it's been passed by several others. There's actually a Chinese one that's been airing this year that's over $2 billion. Never heard of it. It's just on the Wikipedia list. I'm not even going to try to pronounce the name because I will actually literally probably butcher it. It's like, okay, I'll try. Neza 2, like it's a sequel.
Oh, N-E space Z-H-A?
Yeah.
Naja. It's
I'd never heard it said, so.
It's a deity.
Gotcha.
It's kind of like a Wukong type character, I believe.
Gotcha. And then
I learned that from Smite. Video games teach you things, people.
Sometimes they do.
Smite's awful.
Obviously, the rest of the list is littered with a whole lot of Pixar films and one or two just straight Disney films. Technically, they're counting 2019's The Lion King live action. Because that made 1.6.
And it's not live action. It is
animated. It's just it's very different style than all the rest on the list.
Yes,
very different.
Yes.
Because the rest are like more traditional, like the Pixar style.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, I don't even think there's any of the 2Ds. No, none of them are the old school 2D. They're all the really that Pixar 3D style until you get to this recent the one in China. And then obviously Lion King is the CGI faux live action style.
Right.
So I was trying to find the budget. I didn't seem to write it down. What was the budget for Toy Story 3? I apologize, audience. I absolutely failed. $200 million. So it made 5 times its budget on the production budget.
Understandable.
Obviously, marketing is going to be higher. So at least over double the budget if you count animated stuff. Probably doesn't have the global marketing, like expenses of like live
Right.
action press tours and stuff, which are shockingly expensive, but still an expensive production and budget rollout for the marketing. Let me back it up here. It was directed by Lee Unkrich. I think he said, I would say Crick would be my guess. I haven't heard it said. He was a co-director of Toy Story 2, Monsters Inc., Finding Nemo. He directed Coco later in his career, and then he's directing the upcoming Coco sequel.
Yes, that's my favorite
He's also
Pixar film.
He's also done some VA on various different projects from Pixar, as well as been editor as well on a few different pieces as well. So basically, longtime Pixar guy, done a lot of stuff. The screenplay was from Michael Arndt. I did not realize he was the writer of Little Miss Sunshine. Also was one of the writers of Star Wars Force Awakens from 2015. He wrote that Tom Cruise sci-fi movie Oblivion in 2013, or at least I did the screenplay for it, because I think that was originally a graphic novel, if I remember right.
I believe it's a graphic novel or novel. It was
and then he did the adapted screenplay of it. Also wrote a couple of the Hunger Games later movies, Catching Fire and Ballad of Songbirds and Snakes. So a solid, big budget screenplay writer. And then a lot of the returning cast from the prior two Toy Story movies: Tom Hanks, Tim Allen, John Cusack, Don Rickles, Wallace Shawn, John Ratzenberger, and Michael Keaton joining the cast as Ken, Ned Beatty as Lotso. Timothy Dalton is one of my favorite casts. I did not know he was in this movie as Mr. Pricklepants. And Bonnie Hunt as a small character named Dolly as one of the toys.
And the guy who plays Andy in this movie is actually the Andy from the first two Toy Stories, which they literally, fun fact about it, I was just watching it earlier today, like the behind the scenes. They didn't know if he was still acting or doing anything, or if that his voice would even work for the character. And they called him. It went to a message machine, but it was his message and his voice. And the moment they heard his voice on the message, like answering machine, they were like, "Yeah, he's got the perfect voice for it. So we need to get him back." So, yeah, the only casting change was Slinky Dog, and that's because Blake Clark took over. And that's because Jim Varney passed away shortly after Toy Story 2. So,
yeah, I believe that was one of his
I think they sound
films.
super similar.
Yeah.
I don't think I could tell.
Yeah. It's very close. Blake Clark was actually friends with Jim Varney. So, like, he knew a lot of the ways that Jim Varney spoke. So it was really easy for him. So, did a great job, I think. I never would have known that otherwise.
Either.
And as I mentioned at the outset, this was my first time seeing Toy Story 3. Was it your guys'? I assume it's not, because it was Chris's movie, so I'm sure he's seen it.
No.
Joey, was this your first?
I remember seeing the ending. I think that's the only part I've seen on the movie. So technically my first, yeah.
And Chris, this was a DVD, correct?
Yes, this was the DVD version. I saw it in theaters, and then I think I got it as a DVD like a few years later in like a Walmart bin or something, like $5 bin or something. So, yeah, I would love to bump it up to a Blu-ray, but I have the DVD and Disney Plus, so I'll live for now.
Yeah, for me, this would definitely be a movie I would be up for adding to my physical collection. In fact, I'd probably I assume they've made a collection of the Toy Story films.
Oh,
I haven't actually looked, but I'm guessing they have. And I would absolutely be up for owning that as a collection, because they're all great movies. And some, like in the case of Toy Story, like changed movie making forever. In terms of computer generated, content and like their style. It completely changed animated movies for the better part of now going on 30 years, if not already 30 years, because it was 95, right? Was the first one?
95 was the first one, yeah.
So 30 years. So... and man, how many great movies have come out from that Pixar studio since? Like so many of my favorite animated movies are Pixar's.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
We're good. What are your Are you guys more of a Woody character? Like, do you guys like Woody or do you like Buzz Lightyear better?
Joey, check that out.
This is my brother's. This is mine.
Let's go.
And you can even see I took mine to Disney World. You might be able to see it's Buzz Lightyear's quote unquote signature. I got him to sign it. But the funny thing about Buzz Lightyear and Woody in in Disney World is they have to wear these heads. So they have they don't really get to see very well. So they just have, instead of a pen, they just have a stamp. And and I have one of the autograph books, and Buzz Lightyear like almost missed the entire page. I just have a little bit of his stamp on my autograph book. It's really funny.
It's fucking perfect.
Fantastic.
Oh my god.
I've never been to Disney. I'd like to go. But now I'm in my late 30s, mid to late 30s. By the time I'll get there,
here's the thing: if you go in your mid to late 30s or whatever, go with a bunch of friends.
Oh, that's the plan.
I want to go with a bunch of friends. I've only ever gone with family. So I would love to go do it with friends and be like, oh, let's go ride the rock and roller coaster and do all the really cool stuff. And I've been there enough that I could, if you want me to take you somewhere, I don't need the map. I can just walk you to it.
Nice.
I know too much about Disney for.
it's it's fair play. It's what it is.
It is those are all my favorite vacations.
So back to this movie. Obviously, it's one of the most celebrated animated movies of all time. Easily the best movie we've watched this season by a very wide margin, I would say. Little Giants was incredibly enjoyable, but is not the caliber of movie this is.
Right.
The caliber of which, by the way, actually won a couple of Academy Awards.
Yes, it did.
In the 83rd Animated Awards, it was nominated for 5. It was nominated for Best Picture, Adapted Screenplay, Animated Feature, and Original Song. No, it was 4, excuse me. I have 5 lines because one line is the name of the song, which is We Belong Together, and I believe that's the end credits song.
Yes.
And it won for the original song, and won Best Animated Feature that year.
What won Best Picture? Do we know?
Hang on. Let me look it up.
Was that 2010?
83rd. Hey, you guys guess while I look it up.
Oh god.
Was that like King's Speech time?
You got it. That's what it was.
Yeah.
That was Best Picture.
Bro, I just pulled that out of nowhere.
Wow.
I remember that one because it got me ticked because it beat Inception and Social Network. And having watched both,
honestly,
or I actually never seen Inception, but I've seen Social Network. King's Speech is nowhere near as good of a movie as Social Network.
Yeah. I feel like 2010-ish was when the Oscars stopped being like actually some of the best movies out there, and they started focusing more on the artistic direction and like messages of movies as being best pictures instead of like, I don't know what the last time a best picture nomination was an animated movie or an action movie like Inception or something like that.
Was nominated this year, wasn't it?
I don't think so.
Trying to remember, because I remember then. Now we're kind of swinging back a little bit. Obviously, The Brutalist won this year, but was it The Brutalist? No, Brody won for The Brutalist as Best Actor. But what did win Best Picture this year? We're a movie podcast. We should know these things.
Yeah,
I don't.
I'm just admiring the movies from 2010.
We're not hardcore movie heads. I should warn the audience. We are amateur cinephiles. And that's what we want to be. We don't want to be like, I'm a jack of all trades nerd. I cannot devote enough time to become a fucking cinephile, and that's all I do.
Dude, no.
I don't have the time.
I can't. There's not enough space in my head.
Like, I want to golf. I want to play video games. I want to do my wood burning and my charity streams and watch movies and TV shows. Not enough time.
So Toy Story 3 was the last animated feature to be nominated for Best Picture.
And it's absolutely a travesty because there have been some great ones in the last 15 years.
And the year before was Up was animated or was nominated for Best Picture.
Up's
Up's
opening
so good.
by itself should
Ugh.
have won the award.
And there's only been 3. It's been Toy Story 3, Up, and Beauty and the Beast, 1991.
Fair.
All unable to score the win.
And I
Can we
feel
talk
like
about...
audiences are getting to the point where I think they're they're putting in more popular movies again. But
Yeah.
and now
Oh.
the big thing is, just now they finally have required Academy voters to actually fucking
Yes.
watch all the movies before they vote for Best Picture
Yeah,
in Academy.
like last week.
Are you
Last
shitting
week they
me?
nominated, or they.
I thought
they
that
said
was
that.
just
We
a...
knew that because
was
The Dark
blown.
Knight wasn't even nominated. Right?
My
Remember that
mind
year?
was blown.
Yeah.
that
What
wasn't
the
even
fuck?
Like,
I didn't know it was a thing.
up there.
yeah, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Like, that's been the whole bit is like you'll always see stories about like, oh, I didn't watch that movie, so of course I didn't vote for it. When it's like, fucking lunatics. It's only
What?
how many is
Yeah.
it now? Is it 15 films? It's 10. Is it still 10?
Is it 10 that gets narrowed down to
Yeah.
like 6 before the actual award show?
Something like that. Yeah, it goes through a stage, and it's like
Yeah.
that's not that many movies, guys, and like
Right.
you are getting paid. I don't know about paid. I don't know the
Yeah.
structure, but you're voting for the most prestigious award in movies. Watch
And
all
you're
the
like,
fucking
"I'll watch
movies.
it." What the
Yeah.
fuck?
And it goes to show like they're just now doing the stunt category too, but not in 2026. No. We're gonna wait 2 years.
That we're
I
not going to do it
presumably-
in the year.
Presumably, they don't just want to give the first award to Tom Cruise
Oh.
Right.
and the Mission
Right.
Impossible crew, because that seems like a given. Which, in fairness, maybe levels the playing field for the very first one, because there's no way Mission
Mhm.
Impossible doesn't win for stunt choreography. Just from the trailers, you're
Right.
like, holy
Yeah.
shit!
Yeah.
It's gonna
That
be
plane stunt
crazy.
looks insane. It just like insanity. I don't know how they make
Like,
this
I-
shit up.
I like watching the Mission Impossible movies. Like every movie, it's like they amp it up just a little bit more, and I'm like, what are they gonna fucking do for the next one? And then they do like this plane one. I'm like,
They're gonna
okay, that's
actually
pretty fucking high
kill
up
Tom
there.
Cruise.
Yeah, they're
They're gonna
actually
defib him
Yeah.
on a set. All right, so back to Toy Story 3. It did originally have a different ending. Arndt's talked about this a couple different times. The original screenplay in his first draft had them actually getting back home to Andy and going back into storage and not being passed on and, going into a different life cycle as a toy. It was Unkrich that decided they should focus more on the end and change of a toy's life cycle and focus on, then going through the conveyor belt into the fire of doom and then eventually getting donated to Bonnie. And very uplifting ending there, as opposed to them
Mm-hmm.
going into a box in an attic.
This sting.
Yeah, that would be a little, underwhelming, I think, for
Yeah.
what these movies have been. And there was also,
Yeah.
apparently, an entirely different movie that was supposed to come out 2 years before this one. Do you guys know the story of that?
No.
No.
So this is the story of the original Toy Story 3. I'll give you the rundown here, and I'm actually going to send you guys the link, and I will put it in our link dump down
Okay.
below. Hang on, this is going to break...
Everything.
Why can't I see the chat? Show chat. And then I will hide chat and full screen again. Boom. There we go. So basically this all comes back to when Disney and Pixar broke apart. There was the initial 5, movie deal that they signed with Toy Story, and they're going to do 5 movies. There was a huge kerfuffle over the fact that Toy Story 2 did not count per Disney's contract. They said sequels don't count. It's got to be original. They also had a major issue with, Pixar had a major issue with how much money they were going to have to cut out for Disney for profits and for distribution. And they were not going to have, the control that they wanted to make their movies. And it got so bad, Michael Eisner, who was the CEO at the time, let Pixar walk on their deal. And it blew up his tenure as CEO. He was very quickly, not 100% voted out, but it got really close to the point where it really shook a lot of people's confidence in his ability to lead the company. And he would step down early in 2005, and which was early on his contract. He wasn't supposed to possibly have a new contract until 2006, so he stepped down a whole year early. But while that was happening, after they let Pixar walk, Eisner's idea was, well, let's make a digital production studio to basically ape their style. We don't need Pixar, we're Disney. And they formed Circle 7 Studios. which was supposed to be their answer to Pixar's animation style. Disney at the time, you remember, they were doing a lot of those not very well received direct-to-DVD 2D sequels. You know, like Lion King 1.5. You know,
Yeah.
and like
Aladdin 2
and 3,
freaking,
which actually holds up. Like the animation is a little more shoddy, but the actual story is really, really good for me. At least from what I remember. It's been some time.
I don't remember there's a number 2 and a 3. Holy shit.
3 is the one with the golden hand and his dad comes back.
I've never seen anything other than the first Aladdin. So.
Oh, yeah. It's actually like his dad is a real piece of, like, turns out to be kind of an asshole. And like it's a great little like family drama story with like Midas's like golden hand. It's great stuff. Animation's not quite up to snuff as the first couple movies, but it works. But they had a lot of not great ones. Like there was a Kronk's New Groove sequel, right? Like a bunch of those that did not hold up and did not make the money that they were spending on them. But Pixar's doing all these amazing things, but they're really not happy with their deal, especially with the blow up over Toy Story 2. So they walk in 04. Then, because of that, the shareholders lose their shit. They're like, it's fucking Pixar. They're making Best Picture nominated shit here. What are you doing? And like 43% of the voters like voted to oust Eisner, which is nuts. Like, that's crazy.
Damn.
And they didn't, so it's not a majority. But he eventually steps down due to the pressure. And then in comes Bob Iger, who's now, I think, again, CEO again.
I believe so.
He had a break in between there. And he realized, okay, well, we should get Pixar back. And turns out, just fucking bought them. Like $7.4 billion to buy Pixar.
Jesus.
Which is almost double what they paid for Star Wars. Think about that. That was only about 6 years apart, give or take. Maybe 7. And it was like just a crazy number back then. That was in January 2006. They finalized that purchase. And then would obviously go through to merge everything, and they closed Circle 7 Studios without a movie ever being produced. But what they were going to produce is a whodunit style murder mystery kind of film where they're dealing with toys being kidnapped one by one and trying to figure out who the thief is, and like it gets down to like the final 2 toys, presumably Woody and Buzz, and like they think they're both gonna die, but then it turns out they haven't ever released what the final script was. But that sounds like it could be a very fun, like, short story in the Toy Story universe.
Yeah.
Like, told as, like, Andy is telling this story as, like, a teen. And that's... Because I've always loved because isn't that the thing with Buzz Lightyear, is that it's written by Andy?
The
like,
TV show?
In universe, it's written by this Andy, and he writes the Buzz Lightyear movie.
Oh.
Because I remember that was the whole thing with... when the movie came out or something like that.
Yeah, when the movie came out, it's like it's written in universe by this Andy.
By Andy. Yeah.
As an adult. Like after he's done with college. I was like, I always liked that bit. And it's like you could go back and like you could use the Toy Story cast. Presumably you'd have to recast if everyone doesn't want to come back, to tell like little short stories on Disney Plus, kind of like what they would do with like Muppet movies, you know? But with the Toy Story universe. Yeah. I think that would be a really cool way to use those characters. And that story is making me go like, that, like, as soon as I read that this afternoon, I was like, oh man, I'd love to see that. And then you bring in, like, cast Daniel Craig in a role. And, like, he's, like, the toy detective, you know, like, to play off him in Knives Out. That kind of thing. It'd be hilarious. I'd love to watch that. So I hope they dust that script back off, because apparently it was submitted and Disney really liked it until everything blew up with the, Eisner and Iger of it all on the CEO side. So,
yeah.
Who knows? Maybe we'll see something with it someday. But it'd be pretty cool.
Yep.
All right, do you guys have anything to add on Toy Story Trace?
I got nothing.
No, we have to do scores yet.
Yeah.
I'm assuming with our letterbox scale of 1 through 5, I'm assuming it's all 5s all around.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean,
no.
You giving it a 1?
If anything, you could go 4.5.
The 4.
Okay, you're going 4?
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Question: is this the best Toy Story?
No.
Which one's your favorite?
1.
Okay.
I watched the shit out of 1 growing up.
That's fair.
That became my favorite. Number 2 I thought was good. And that's kind of a competitor for number 1, but to mine, because it was like 1, 2, 3.
Did you ever play the first Toy Story video game?
Yes, I have.
The Sega Genesis or
Yep.
N64 or whatever.
Like N64,
That was
baby.
rough.
That was hard.
It was very hard.
That was a rough era of games.
Yeah.
Oh man.
Like, remember the Superman game from that era?
Jesus.
Good.
Oof.
Not good.
I rented that from. I remember renting that from Blockbuster and being like, after an hour of having it at home, I'm like, can we just return this? This is pointless.
This is the kind of game that makes you question if you like games.
Right?
It's
Yeah.
bad. It's bad.
It's like nowadays. It's like games come out and you're like, oh man, why do I have to do a day one patch? And then if you think back, you're like, oh, Superman 64. That's
Yep.
right. That's it.
Yeah.
That's the reason.
God.
Indeed.
Well, it's like, what is it? Kind of a deep cut for me is Digimon World.
Oh, yeah. The first one.
That game was so buggy, and that could have used a day one patch.
I had a
It was
disc that would
just
never
so
load.
bad.
I got Beyblade,
Yeah.
the game, never loaded. It was just black.
Heartbreak.
Had that happen.
God.
That's rough.
Yeah. All right. So, another question, just to pad out the runtime on this episode.
Mhm.
What is your favorite Pixar film?
I said it earlier. It's Coco. I love Coco. That's my favorite, hands down.
Because mine's Incredibles.
Incredibles is really good.
It's
Brad Bird,
potentially the perfect superhero movie.
What is it? The voice of the telephone in Toy Story 3 is like the robot voice in The Incredibles, where it's like, oh man, it's when they're on Syndrome's Island and he's like going through in like the tram car, and it's talking about like stats of or like what's going on in the area.
Trying to think. What was the name? Meet the Newbies. Chatter. That was the name of the toy.
Yes,
Teddy Newton. Yeah, Teddy Newton. Yeah, he's the newsreel narrator in The Incredibles.
Mm-hmm.
And he was on the art department for Ratatouille and WALL-E.
God, I'm kind of a toss up.
He's been on.
I want to say Bugs Life. Probably
Bugs
number
Life
one?
is really good.
They're all like hard to find a
They're all
bad one.
good.
Hard
I
to
know.
find a bad
Yeah.
Yeah.
But I was
Bugs
like,
Life
damn.
is honestly, you watch Bugs Life today and you're just like, this is what we need to do in life.
Yeah.
This is what we need. We need more ants.
Look at me. I'm a pretty little butterfly. Oh.
Heimlich?
Heimlich, yes.
All
Like,
right.
man. I had a big debate. Is Bugs Life or Ratatouille? I
Ratatouille's
think Bugs
great.
Life.
What if the toys went on like a vacation to Vegas?
Oh yeah.
You know what else?
Oh, and then I could find a toy
Wallace-
museum.
Yeah. And then that'd be really funny because like Wallace Shawn, who plays Rex, was in the movie Vegas Vacation with Randy Quaid and connection to Kingpin.
There it is. The connection to
Did
Kingpin.
it!
That was
You
bad.
did it!
I wondered how he'd work that into Toy Story.
Dude, it took me forever to find a one link. Everybody was 2 or 3 links until I got to
shit.
Wallace Shawn and Randy Quaid in Vegas Vacation.
Oh damn! All right, I'm gonna make
Yeah!
a note. Connection.
Totally
I just
Kingpin.
love that Wartburg never sees it coming.
Well, I was like, okay, it's an interesting concept. And then I was like, oh, wait, I heard vacation. And I was like, oh, I know where this is going.
Damn it. Anyway, we should pick our next film, huh?
Yeah.
Roll
All right,
the
let's
dice.
go to the wheel spin page. This time, we're picking the host first because we have gone through 2 full rotations here in season 2. We've done, let me go back to my sheet here. In case you're a new person that is stumbling across our videos, these are our season 2 films. We did Little Giants to open the season, City Slickers from Chris's collection, Heart's War from my collection, World War Z from Joe's collection, Enemy at the Gates, that one was mine, Annihilation from Joe, and Toy Story 3 from Chris. So, let's spin this wheel and see who our next host is going to be.
There was a drawstring, but
Oh, no.
somebody broke it.
And
It's
we're
probably one of my dogs.
Back to Chris's collection.
Yo, let's get
Hey.
Inception.
Oh, dude, I'm down.
Let's get another one that Warburg hasn't seen from 2010.
Open Chris's list. And spinning the wheel.
Woo!
All right, so Chris is hoping
Inception,
for Inception.
Oblivion. The Accountant would still be good.
Oh! We're going with a James Bond movie.
Oh shit.
So this is where it gets interesting.
It's got to be.
Quantum of Solace. Is that the only one you have?
Yeah.
No, I have Casino Royale.
So when we were making these lists early on before we did season 1, we were like, okay, so franchises. When we get a franchise, I believe our rule was we would start with chronologically the oldest we had, and in the Bond world, it would be the oldest of that era. So the Daniel Craig era.
Did we do that with?
No.
Because I don't think it was the host didn't have.
But did you
don't-
not have GoldenEye?
No, I don't. When we got Tomorrow Never Dies, that was the oldest one.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I also think that it makes sense with this one because they're not really chronological
Not
or
like the
dependent
Daniel
on
Craig
previous,
ones. Yeah.
but the
Yeah,
Daniel
Daniel
Craig
Craig's
ones are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
They do have a
So
story.
I'm good with Casino Royale,
Okay, so we'll do Casino Royale. Plus, that's
which is great because it's a
movie.
better movie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
James Bond, Casino Royale, which low-key might be my favorite Bond movie of all time. It's great.
It's between that one and Skyfall. for
Skyfall's
me.
dope, too. Like, No Time to Die absolutely hits, too. Like,
I haven't seen that one. Yet,
you
actually.
would love it.
I saw Spectre once, but I was very just not paying attention. So I'd probably want to watch that again and then go.
Oh,
to
absolutely.
No
That's
Time
like
to Die.
required viewing to make No Time to Die
Yeah.
work better. Otherwise, you
Yeah.
don't get a couple of the twists. They don't make sense.
The
So
through plots, yeah.
we're going to start with Casino Royale for the James Bond era.
Nice.
Fuck
And
yeah.
that'll be in roughly 2 weeks for our viewing audience. So if you would want to, take part in that discussion, definitely hit that subscribe. Let us know in the comments what you thought about Toy Story 3 and what your thoughts are on Casino Royale if you've ever seen it. And because we're probably going to talk other things like your favorite Bonds, favorite Bond film, which we did I think we did the first time. I can't remember.
I
I don't remember if we
Don't
did.
know if we
It's
did.
been
We were
like-
talking about how bad that
bad
movie
it was. 'Cause
That
it was
movie sucked. It was
It
not
was really
bad.
bad.
Not
I had to
good.
spice it up, and I was like, "This is no."
Yeah, Joey. Yeah,
Yeah.
Joey. No, it was Joey's collection. Well, not mine. 'cause
my
Joey
collection.
edited.
It was
Yeah.
Joey's
Joey
collection.
edited
yeah.
the thing, and you didn't have anything older. You didn't have.
That's
Goldeneye?
right. You edited it.
No, I have all of them
Oh, wait. So why didn't we do that with Goldeneye?
because
I think
I
it's
don't think
because
we did Goldeneye.
No, I think it was because we don't they're not chronological.
They're not
Yeah.
chronological. Yeah,
You can watch them in any order and they'll still make sense.
yeah,
Yeah.
except for the Daniel
Except
Craig
for
ones.
And
except
a couple
for
of the early
switch
Connery
between
ones,
the
but-
cues.
Yeah,
I don't think any of the Connors sync up.
couple of.
I'd
Well,
have
not
to-
really. But there's some through lines with the Spectre stuff,
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
but nothing as what would become later with Craig. It was very early
Right.
days serialized storytelling. Yeah.
Like you can't watch Quantum of Solace without seeing Casino Royale.
Especially because of how it opens and how Casino Royale ends.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
So we'll start with Casino Royale, which I'm very excited about.
Me too.
That'll be
I'll
fun.
remove
Haven't seen that in
from
a
the
while.
list. Go back.
Same.
To the main
Right. It's
screen.
probably
Oh, wait,
been
I
like
watched it last
5
year.
years at least.
Yeah, it's been pre-COVID for me, at least.
Yeah.
God,
Yeah.
2024.
Which ticks
for
me off. I bought the 4K collection and the freaking code don't work. Thanks, WB.
Oh.
Ah, the fuck?
You stingy fucks.
Oh.
It's like, who cares? They shouldn't expire.
Yeah, why do you
No,
make
it
them
shouldn't.
expire?
You're selling them with the
Okay,
advertising that says digital code. Somebody
Right.
needs to make a class action lawsuit that the judge says, turn the fucking codes back on. I'm saving the sheet in case that happens. It's sitting right there. Right on my desk. I'm going to put it on my bullet board. Because the Batman, the animated series, same shit. I got the discs,
Ooh.
but the codes don't work. They're all expired.
I could see this being a tough one for Degrees of Kingpin.
Yeah, I don't know. It's a lot of British actors.
Yeah, this could be tough. Oh man, come back in 2 weeks when we have the gripping conclusion of how many steps. Will this be our first 2+ stepper to Kingpin? Who knows? but spare the time because we're going to have a strike in 2 weeks. Turkey!
That was excellent. And on that note, we are out here for Box Office Shuffle, episode 7 of season 2. I believe it's episode 18 overall. I don't know the number. Anyway, we're out of here, and we'll see you in 2 weeks.
To infinity and beyond! Look at how derpy he is. It's really...